Hello friends, welcome to Shared and Smiles. I'm Alyssa and today we have a guest that some of you may know from before, and that is Jocelynn. Hi. So we're both Ariana Grande fans and she put out a new album, so we're going to just jump right into it. We're going to listen to the songs and track by track kind of just give you our feelings right afterwards and see how this goes. So we'll jump right into it. Alright, the first song on her new album is called Raindrops, then in parentheses, An Angel Cried. An angel cried! Okay, so right off the bat, it was a short little ditty, like not even a minute long. But personally for me, I know it made me kind of pumped for the rest of it because it's just like very simple, but like showing off her voice right off the bat, like jumping right in. So like it makes me like excited to see where we're gonna go from here and what else she's got in store for us, I guess.
Yeah, I really like this because it's, I don't know, I was kind of picturing just her standing in like an empty music hall, and unfortunately I don't think that would ever happen like at a concert experience where you could hear all of the echoes and things, because I think at a concert experience it would be too full of people. So like, but I don't know, just having that vulnerability, standing in there by yourself would be cool to witness. And that's what it kind of made me think of.
Song number 2 is Blazed featuring Pharrell Williams.
Shorty, you can get blazed.
Hopefully we don't run out of time. Huh? Thoughts? Do you have one?
I like dancing to it. And it has like it has a cool beat, like the instruments together just kind of, I don't know. It might just be because Pharrell is in there, but the word happy is coming to mind. It makes me feel happy.
Yeah, it definitely has like more of like a sunshiny feel to it overall. And I agree, I had fun busting a move to it a little bit. But yeah, I think it's a good sunshiny, like, yes, it's not the opening song, but it's the first like song, you know what I mean? Like the first thing is like 38 seconds and this is like more of a, full length song, which I think sets more of a mood than the first one. The first one's like, get pumped, this is coming, even though it's slow, like, you know what I mean? Just like vocally what she's showing off is like getting you kind of internally hyped, I guess. Mm-hmm. At least for me. And then this song I think is more so, setting up what we're actually going to be hearing throughout the rest of it, maybe a little bit more. We could be proven wrong coming up, but just kind of setting the style, I guess. And it definitely has, more of a sunshiny feel, which is kind of, from what I've been seeing leading up to the release, what she was going for after everything that's happened recently with her, like Manchester.
Oh, yeah.
So with all of that, that's definitely, I think, the mood she's going for, and I think that this sets it very well. We were discussing, we don't really know why it's called Blazed, like they say blazed in it.
I want to listen to the lyrics again. But yeah. Not right now.
But not right now, because we're doing like a first off reaction kind of deal. So the next song is called The Light Is Coming, and it's featuring Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, when the done speak now, I'm shooting a shot that drive by. All you had to make me go call out my side bar.
Looks like you're making it rain.
So I'm doing from. So my initial thought right after listening to that is it definitely, the one line that's repeated over and over again is, the light is coming to get back everything the darkness stole. And so it's still keeping with the upbeat, positive, theme that she came into this with. I know I saw somewhere where they commented on the fact that this is the first album that she's put out with color on the cover as well. And that's part of, trying to blow your mind. It's just, that's part of the, again, her having gone through like the Manchester and like all of that and coming out on the other side and trying to bring more of a positive spin to everything. which is definitely still present in this song. It's a little bit more funky than the first one for sure, and it's very repetitive in ways that I could see it maybe being a little bit annoying. I personally really enjoy it. I think it's funky in a good way, and I really like it, but I can see where someone else would be like, all right, like skip this one a little bit.
We talked about before how we're always kind of excited to hear what the Nicki Minaj track on the Ariana Grande album or vice versa, and so this one kind of lived up to my standards in terms of that. But like they always, when they work together, it always comes out great in my opinion.
Okay. The next song is R.E.M.
Conversation trouble, I watch them make the curves. When they come to bug you, but I feel like I knew you, so I just wanted to hug you.
So we figured out that this one is called REM because of rapid eye movement, sleep, REM sleep, because that's when dreams happen, and it's all talking about how she doesn't want to wake up from the dream that comes along with new love. I don't know. Overall, I liked this song because it was just kind of like more laid back. It's a change from the previous two, which is nice because it just doesn't allow everything to get stale and things. So
Yeah, definitely. It stays like in the same realm, that it doesn't sound like it doesn't belong on the album, but it does give it more of like a chill vibe to it that is enough of a switch that you don't feel like you're listening to the same thing over and over again. And yeah, like she said, it's about love that maybe isn't necessarily like brand new, but it's new enough that she doesn't want to wake up from it. She's still very much so in that dream state. And I think that the music kind of echoes that. Like they work together to kind of bring that about. The next song is God is a Woman. So, with a title like God is a Woman, and with the song being like sexual in nature, I can definitely see how religious people might have an issue with this one, for sure. However, like me personally, like I really love the like the beat and the vibe of this whole song. I think it's great, and I think that the imagery that she uses is clever. So I personally really enjoy this one. I can see why religious people necessarily wouldn't care for it, but I personally I loved it, and I like the different vibe that comes throughout. Like, you know, it is cohesive, but it's like got different feelings kind of throughout. And then at the end it even has like more of an effect, because it's not really a choir, but it has that choir praise feel that you would maybe get in a church. But I really liked the way that all worked together, and it did all seem to fit, and I really enjoyed this song.
yeah, I liked it too. It took me a little bit to like pay attention to the words because I was like you said, more focused on like the different changes and the different styles that came together to make this one. The one line that kept sticking with me was, "I can be everything you told me not to be." I think that's it. That I was just like, that's interesting. Just like that. I mean, you don't have to listen to anyone. You can be your own person. But also, like, I was trying to figure out how that related to the rest of the song. I don't know. Do you have...
No.
Okay. So
interesting insight. So,
yeah. But
something
overall,
to ponder.
Yeah. But overall, I liked it. Like you were saying, I liked the very end with the choir-ish vibe. And just like another example of, you know, her background in singing, but also just like the talent that she has. I think that's something that not a lot of popular artists have is the training to go along with what they're doing.
The next song on the album is actually the name of the album, Sweetener. Not that they can really see anything that's happening down here anyway. They're like, wow, Sweetener has something.
Again, it took me a little bit with the lyrics. I think this time just because T's are percussive, as we talked about. And so like I wasn't quite sure what she was talking about, like in the some parts of the song. But overall I think it was the imagery and the word choice was cool. I mean, she's talking about sweetener and salt and taste and blah 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 blah. But just like overall having that person that just kind of like, I don't know, brings sweetness into your life. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean for me I feel like it's a song that's again about like that person who makes it better, and that's, you know, an ongoing theme throughout. But it was nice. This one didn't really move me one way or another. This one was kind of, it was nice. Which is interesting because it's the one that the whole album's named after. So I guess me personally, I kind of have an expectation for that one. Maybe not to necessarily be the best song. And I know I've talked about it on this show before, but it's the one that I think should most encapsulate what the entire album is supposed to be. And so it's the song that you should listen to get the best idea of what you're going to get the rest of it. And I guess it does seem to kind of fit that. It's just interesting to me that so far this is the song that has stuck out to me the least, and that's the one that this album has been named after. Like that this is what she, you know, thought was, or someone thought was what should be on the front. So, yeah. Interesting. And the next song is called Successful.
I'm so successful, and girl, you are so young and beautiful and so yeah, I'm so successful.
Sometimes you just feel like you need to relish in your own success. And that's what this song is. But it works in a, like, it's not like an arrogant way. It's just like, I have this and this and this, and I worked for it, and here we are.
Woo-hoo.
Which is nice. Good for her.
Yeah, nice positive little spin on that. I like this one. I think I like this one a little bit better than Sweetener. And it's got like a little fun, little like feel to it. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong in being proud of what you've accomplished. Don't be like a jerk, but there's nothing wrong with being proud in what you have. And again, with the positive vibe of everything, it's nice to be able to look at what you've done and be like, hey, look at this, that's pretty cool.
One thing I've noticed thus far is that they're like having heard, of course, No Tears Left to Cry, and knowing that that's coming up, I think it's interesting that like everything else is kind of like I don't feel like anything else is a single that could be successful.
The song's called Successful.
Yeah, that's why. But I
mean, God is a Woman is a single too. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think that one's out already.
I think it's. I don't know. Nothing has stood out to me like
quite in the same way.
Yeah,
it's all been very different.
Yeah.
But I mean, of what we've listened to so far, I'm gonna go look through this again.
Like I like it.
I say of what we've listened to so far, God is a Woman has been, I think, the strongest one of what we've heard so far. So it would make sense then that would be the other, like, single.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't know if anything else has been released. I know that No Tears Left to Cry, and then I do believe God is a Woman was the other one that was released ahead of time. So,
not that they're bad or anything. I just don't think as a single they would be.
Right. But maybe, and going off of that, I think that that's something that's important for artists to think about as they're putting stuff together, but also maybe that's kind of part of the whole vibe of this as well, is her focus was on putting out a positive body of work to kind of, you know, counteract the negativity from before, so that this would be, she's not necessarily as worried about, I got singles to put out.
Yeah. Because
she is successful on her own. I'm going to put out what I want.
And that's been the basis of her other, I mean, you look at her other albums and you have 3, 4, 5 singles off of each one of those, I believe. I could be completely wrong. But
I think she's put out, But
yeah. It's just different, but like, it's a good different. because I'm just interested to see, like, this sound is a little different than what she's previously put out, and I'm interested to see if she keeps it, what she does with it, stuff like that.
The next song on the album is called Every Time. Okay, so with Every Time, the feel of everything, I guess, is kind of the same musically, I think. But the message of the song is it's about going back to the same person every time, but it's not necessarily someone who's good for her, which is a little bit different than the previous stuff, where it was so like, oh, like such a good person. It was kind of like, why does God keep bringing me back to you every time? Like, she talks about falling like a teenager and getting drunk and stuff like that. And so it's not necessarily the positive coming back to you every time deal, but this is someone that she's drawn back to every time and is kind of questioning why that is.
Yeah, I'm interested to know who it is. I have an idea. But
So,
who is it?
who knows?
Other than that, I like, again, it's pretty much the same sound. Nothing that really stood out though.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We're kind of getting to that point.
You need something different. I have an idea of what's coming next, but I don't think I do.
Maybe not next, but soon.
Soon.
All right. The next song is called Breathin'.
Just keep breathing, 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 breathing. Keep on breathing.
This one falls back into the positive vibe category somewhat, like trying to keep a positive vibe and just like keep going. Like, yes, it's like things are not the best right now, and like, but like, you keep reminding me to just keep going and keep breathing, and you know that, and I subscribe to that thought a lot. Just like a lot of the time with school and things, it's like, just keep going. We're gonna get through it. The only way you can get through it is if you just keep going. So like, I don't know, I like this song. I think that of the ones that we've heard so far that aren't apparently singles already, like God is a Woman, this is one that I would see being successful as a single. I don't know, there's just something about it.
Yeah, as far as we know, single-wise, we don't.
Yeah, as far as we know.
We don't keep up with that very well. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed personally the motivational side of this song. It's definitely, it's motivational, but not in the way that like you think of like, like Eye of the Tiger, which is like a pump up jam. Right. It's more of a motivational, keep going, keep moving forward, but in times where a more like subdued way of presenting that idea is more acceptable, as opposed to like a huge pump up jam, which I personally really enjoyed. I liked like the chimey type sounds that were happening at the beginning, and just the overall sound of this one I prefer, and I like a little bit better than some of the stuff that we've been hearing in the last few songs. Not that they're bad or anything, but this one stood out to me as something that I personally prefer. And then the message of the song I thought was really great, and something that Ariana probably can take as her own advice, but also something that a lot of her fans can really grasp onto and relate to at the same time, and use it as kind of their own personal motivation in whatever they're dealing with, whether it be school related or personal life or whatever. Like, there's so many things that could relate to, and I think that it's really cool to have a song like that can reach so many different people, because it isn't so specific to one thing. It doesn't have to be one thing. It can be to like a lot of different things to different people, and those kind of songs always stick out to me, so I really enjoyed that one. The next song is No Tears Left to Cry.
So I first heard this song not with Ariana Grande singing it, but with Leland singing it when I went to Pittsburgh Pride. He was one of the opening acts for Troye Sivan, and I don't believe I had heard the song beforehand. And so like when I first heard this, I was like as like with Ariana Grande singing it, I was like, this is her song? What? But yeah, it's definitely, I don't know, it's upbeat, and it just like I'm over like this time in my life. I mentioned while we were listening to it that there's like a reference to colors, and based on what you said beforehand about the colors and the thing,
The album cover?
Yeah, with the album cover. The lyric is, they point out the colors in you, I see them too, and boy, I like them. Which I think is cool, because, like, I don't know, this could just be my mind trying to make connections. But if you look at, like, her black and white albums, and then you think of that as, like, an uncolorful time, and then, like, here she's talking about having someone be the sweetener in her life, having, like, seeing these colors in someone, and now she finally has, like, a colorful album. Like, it's cool to see, like, because she's not only growing as a musician, but she's growing as a person, she's growing in a relationship, things like that. And I like how that comes across in her music.
Yeah, definitely. This one's a bop.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bop with a lot of positivity behind it. I love it. You said everything, so let's move on. The next song is called Borderline, and it's featuring Missy Elliott. So, it's nice to see Missy Elliott back. I feel like there was this time in my youth where she was like all over the place, like with her own music, playing with other people, or singing with other people, rather, doing a rap thing, whatever. She was rapping with other people, and I always enjoyed her, so it's nice to see her, kind of coming back. Not just here, I mean, I heard some other songs of hers, but appearing on this song. Besides that, I'm not gonna lie, I had a hard time understanding a lot of what Ariana Grande was saying, so the song didn't really stand out to me in that way, because I didn't really know what the words were a lot of the time. It wasn't bad, just didn't really stick out, but nice to see Missy back.
Everyone can use more cowbell. There was some cowbell in it. I enjoyed it. As a band person, everyone needs more cowbell.
Could always use more cowbell.
The next song is Better Off.
Importance, but never have your thoughts on your knees. I said this too often. Now that it's a bar cup, my dream just for me to.
It was a slow song, which is kind of a switch up. I mean, comparatively to the other ones that we've heard, more like ballady, and she's singing about being better off without somebody. So it sets the mood a little bit more that way for like more reflective, somber type feelings, But yeah, I thought it was good. It didn't stand out to me either way, I guess, but I enjoy it. So
yeah, on this album so far, there's a lot of variety in tempos and instrumentation. I mean, and by instrumentation, I mean different sounds on a synthesizer, seemingly. But like, I don't know, there are a lot of different things happening, and I liked the kind of like escape from all of the fast stuff for this one. I think it, like you said, it makes it seem more reflective than just saying, like, imagine the same lyrics with a faster thing. It kind of portray more of like a I want revenge type thing, like I'm better off without him and blah 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 blah. Or just kind of like, no, like this is a time for me to think about who I am, think about what just happened. Because of that, it does seem very universal, just like Breathin did. Yeah, and I liked it. Like you said, nothing really stood out one way or the other, but it does seem very universal,
yeah,
which I like.
it was very, for me, even though it didn't stand out a ton one way or other, it was very appreciated change in tempo. I do like that. I don't sit like she has her sound and it's very her, but it doesn't feel like I'm listening to the same song with slight changes from like 5 or 6 songs in a row. She does vary it up, which is definitely something that I personally appreciate a lot. So, and this song with its slow down, even though it wasn't a song that like spoke to me in any kind of way, I appreciated the difference in all of that.
The next song is Good Night and Go.
This one's interesting to me. I mean, I get it, but I guess I don't really get it. Because it tells the story, but I don't know if it felt like we had all the answers to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if she actually wants him to go or not.
Well, yeah, she's talking about how cute and sweet he is. Well, I do think, like, she's talking about how cute and sweet he is, and how he always has to just leave. So just say goodnight and go. Don't make it harder than it has to be. And then she talks about how, like, one day he's going to miss his train and he's going to find an excuse to stay and it'll be great. And so it's like, do you really want him to go? Who is he? Why can't he just stay? Like,
is this the new person or is this the old person?
Like, this is, like, so many unanswered questions. And I guess that's why I'm like, this is, like, a sweet song, but I don't, there's so many unanswered questions. So I don't know. I guess, I don't know, maybe that's on purpose. I'm saying a lot really fast. You know? But maybe that's on purpose, you know? Like, maybe it's so that you can interpret it any way you personally want to. And in the same way that Breathin is open-ended that way. Like, I mean, this is clearly a little bit more specific, but maybe it's intentionally vague in some of the details so that you can come up with your own. Or maybe they just don't feel like divulging that much information. Like, who knows? But, so I don't know if I just missed something within the song or if it's just the way that it's written. It was nice. It was sweet. But I don't really know what happened in it.
Yeah. Musically, it's a little in between of, it's like in between like the slowest and the fastest songs on the album, and like it's cool. It's chill.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot more to say about it. The next song is Pete Davidson. Who's Pete Davidson?
I'm going to Google it.
Let's look it up.
I said I'm going to Google it. What do you
Who's Pete Davidson?
Pete Davidson is her boyfriend. And she wrote a song about him.
Amazing. So we might,
It was like a minute long.
going back and looking at some of the questions we have,
Maybe.
is this the person who she keeps coming back to? Why does God keep putting her there? Is he the sweetener to her life?
Is he the one who won't just good night and go?
Who knows?
Pete Davidson, man. Yeah.
The next song is Get Well Soon. Last song too.
It is the last song of the album. How are you listening to this song if you play an instrument? Okay, so Get Well Soon. Ariana Grande actually wrote this song after having a panic attack. And so listening to it, knowing that, it definitely kind of has, you know, but again, she's putting like the positive spin on things. So it's like about kind of the coming up from that, the coming back from that moment, and also about being there for each other, you know, in times when we would need each other and stuff. And I think it's kind of in the same vein, a very uplifting ending, and has that personal connection to her as someone who experienced a panic attack and coming back from that. It definitely, I think, kind of encapsulates all the feelings that kind of go with that a little bit. And but like I said, the after effect, the coming back up to the top, as opposed to dwelling on the negative and the down of being in a panic attack.
So for me, 2 things for this one. The very first da 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 with the piano. I think that's knowing that it was written after a piano attack, a panic attack.
Pianos have been known to attack. Yes.
I think that's an interesting atmospheric effect, sound effect, just because like it could be a heartbeat slowing down. It could be like those first glimpses of like here's a complete thought that I have. Wait a little bit. Here's finally another complete thought that I have. Just like, I don't know. I think that's a cool thing. I think that's completely intentional. If it's not, okay. But I think that was cool. My second thing was, this is, from what I can remember, I could be completely wrong, this is one of the first times that I hear an actual instrument. Like you hear the piano. That's something that is not electric. That is something that is an actual thing. It can be electric, obviously, but which I think is interesting that it took this long, but I also think with the different layers of the song, it would be cool for someone to write just a straight up piano arrangement of this. Just because, one, it's already there, but also there's not a lot of other things competing with it other than the voices. And so to just have that overlay in the piano, I think it would be really cool. Not an actual thing about the song, but I thought it was cool. So my overall thoughts on the album were that it was good. There were a couple parts that like really stood out, and they're like the individual singles and sometimes the universal elements of some of the lyrics. Overall, unfortunately, a lot of it didn't, like the vast majority of it didn't really stand out or stick with me. Not to saying that I won't listen to it again, but I just think it's not something that I particularly see as being up there. So I think I'm going to give it like a 3.5 out of 5 smiles. Yeah.
For me, listening to this album and looking into the cover, taking that into account, like we said before, it's the first time that she's in color, and she's looking a little bit more at the camera than she has in the past. It's usually been not completely, but a little bit more, and she's upside down, and just like taking like the changes into consideration. Like you have this like collection of songs that also are working along with that to add more of an upbeat color vibe to the music that she does. As someone who has owned all of her albums leading up to this, has followed her musical career at least, I've definitely heard the change and the growth, and I've heard her kind of go through, like she had her sound, but she's definitely been polishing it, and I remember her last album really loving it and loving what she put together, and I think that it felt like she kind of finally found it, and in this album it feels like she has taken that, put a little bit more of a positive upbeat feel to it and polished it a little bit more. And so maybe it's not filled with like a lot of the singles and like the the bangers and bops in that way, but I do think it's a very like clean and cohesive project. I think it makes sense from beginning to end, and it does have those songs that do stand out to me, and even the ones that don't, they don't completely take me out of it. I can see where she was going with the collection of it overall. So honestly, I really enjoyed it, and I would give it a 4 out of 5 smiles. And that's my opinion. So obviously our opinions are even different, so we want to know what yours are. If you've listened to this before, let us know what you think down below. If you're interested in listening to it now because of us and liked what we had to say, give it a thumbs up. So she'll probably be back. She has her own channel. I'll make sure to link that down in the description below. You should definitely go check Jocelynn out there. And make sure you subscribe and check everything out that she's got going on. So yeah, that's all the stuff down below that YouTubers feel obligated to say. Anything you want to say at the end?
No, well, thanks for having me again.
Thank you for coming.
I hope to be back.
Probably.
We'll see. Troye Sivan, Bloom, August 31.
Yeah, we have some thoughts going around. We're already kind of planning a next collab. So there's that one. Spoilers. But yeah, so thank you all so much for watching. I love you all. And as always, don't forget to share them smiles. Ciao for now, friends.